Okay. So now we're just waiting for the participants to arrive in the webinar. And of course, a very good morning to all of you who are here. So my name is Amanda. I'm a science communicator from Cancer Research Malaysia. And if this is your first time attending one of our free public webinars, I really hope that you enjoy the session that we have today. And if this is your maybe second time, third time, etc., maybe you've attended plenty of our public webinars before, welcome back. We're really glad to see that you're willing to join us and listen to what we have to say for this session. So let's see, we have quite a number already in the lobby. Well, it's not exactly the lobby. We have quite a number. Okay, great. So without further ado, let us begin with this today's webinar. All right. So today I have a very special guest with me. That is Jie Ying. She's also present here, as you can see her face right over there. So hi, Jie Ying. How are you feeling this morning?
Hi, Amanda. Yeah, it's good. It's good to start the day uh, by sharing a little bit of my experience with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole point, I really thought it was a good idea to, you know what, let's just get one of the younger scientists that we have here in the organization to talk a bit about her experience and also, your journey as a scientist, because most of the scientists that we have here are definitely, towards like the millennial age. You have great people right over there. So you're one of the younger ones, and I thought, yeah, you know what, it would be great for Jie Ying to actually talk a bit about, how maybe talk about like difficulties, what the experience was like from studying and then moving on to the workplace. So it's going to be something very different, and I think. You could be able to give if there are any young people here who are aspiring to progress with their careers in science, I think you would be a good person to, give some advice and share your opinions with. So that's actually the whole point of today's webinar. And also because you've previously studied in Scotland, and I also previously studied in Scotland. So I think it would be great for you to talk a bit about the experience there as compared to Malaysia. All right. So without further ado, shall we get started with the first question?
Sure.
Okay, great. So, first and foremost, not obviously the audience don't know this, but I do. But previously, you were a trainee and also an intern at our organization. So, I want to know what motivated you to join Cancer Research Malaysia in the first place.
First of all, my main interest, it has always been cancer. So, naturally, I try to look for job that's relevant related to cancer. So at the time of my application, so Cancer Research Malaysia came into the picture, and at the point of time, genetic counseling unit was the one that was opening, that was having looking for a trainee. So so genetic counseling is actually an area that I was not super familiar with at that point of time. And when I look into it and I realized just how few certified genetic counselors there are in Malaysia. So after careful consideration, I thought like it's a good opportunity to actually join the genetic counseling unit and see how is this how does genetic counselors, what's the role of genetic counselors in cancer research. And uh, um, and looking back, I really think that this is kind of one of the best decisions that I've made, because I get to learn a totally different side of the field, outside of the lab, basically. So the internship or the training experience really gave me a completely different perspective by working face to face with the patients, which it's kind of really one of the reasons why motivated me to do research up until today.
Yeah, but because now you are actually in a different department, right?
Yes, yes.
Definitely not the genetic counseling department. So you are part of the Translational Cancer
Cancer
Biology. Yeah,
biology.
so
Yeah.
TCB for short, and it's one of the many scientific departments that we have here in Cancer Research Malaysia. So were you feeling like daunted or maybe a bit how do you say, like surreal, because you were, focusing on something a bit more like, cancer and stuff like that, but then you ended up with a role in genetic counseling.
Um, Actually, it's not really because cancer is actually a kind of genetic disease.
Yes.
So yeah, it's actually very closely linked. It's just the main difference is the nature of the job, I would say. So
I see.
the genetic counseling is really about um, facing patients,
Mm-hmm.
interacting with patients and their family. And whereas for my current job of nature is mostly keep in the lab and
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
don't really have much of the I mean human interactions.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
but yeah, so that's why I was saying the experience in the genetic counseling unit is quite motivating, as in
mhm.
you you will feel that you can really feel firsthand how research has benefited the patients and how grateful the patients are um, ha- in how research progress has helped them in receiving in getting the updated or the latest treatment so that they
I
can yeah
see.
they could benefit from the treatment that it's a result of research progress. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, interesting because I'm seeing it at like two different angles. So for genetic counseling, you were just there face to face with the patients, so you get to communicate with them, and as you've said, human interaction. But after you were transferred to another department, which is the TCB unit, then you started to go behind the scenes, right? Like doing more towards the lab work and doing research so that you can still help cancer patients, but well, in a different manner. So you lose the human interaction, but you focus more on like, your cancer cells and your chemicals and whatnot, right? Interesting. So, because I'm also a bit confused, so would you help me to clarify a bit? So, what was the difference between the internship and also the trainee period? So, were you an
Oh,
intern first or were you a trainee first?
oh, so I was a trainee first. So
Okay.
the main difference between trainee and intern is that essentially you join the organization as a trainee because you have not done your degree. You are not graduated from your undergrad degree or but let's say even if you're doing your masters, if you have not graduated, you are considered a trainee. So
Mm.
once so only when you have you have obtained your degree, you will join the organization as an intern. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, I get it. So I'm assuming that uh, as you were required by your university to be a trainee, because usually we have things like what do you call it? I forgot what is the term for it. It just slipped my mind. But basically, it's like a compulsory course that university students have to take to go out there and get experience
Yes,
while at the
yes.
same time they were still studying. I forgot what is the name for it, the term
The
for it.
curriculum.
Is it a placement? Do you call it a placement or something
Yeah,
like that? Yeah, I think it's
yeah.
called a placement, yeah, because some universities do they actually do want students to actually engage in this. So, which university did you study at before, you know?
Oh, so I did my undergrad. Bachelor of Biomedical Science in Talis University.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yep. We did study at the same university, apparently at the Lakeside campus. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yep. All right. So, thanks for clarifying on that. Now I'm definitely less confused. And so I'm assuming that in the middle of it all, you decided to further pursue your education. So you decided to do a master's degree, right? Because that's what I saw while checking your LinkedIn. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a transition in between. So I've introduced that I've joined genetic counseling as an intern, but in between intern and between before I pursue my master's degree, I actually did work as a research assistant in the core lab before, also under Cancer Research Malaysia, before I further pursue my master's. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I'm curious, how did you end up picking a university all the way in Scotland?
So first of all, it's kind of like I am not not really a fan of like probably places too far away like Canada or US.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's smart.
the UK is the obviously also one of the leading um, the scientific research in the world. So
I
so
see.
the UK naturally is my top choice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also there are a lot of collaborations in probably partly influenced by the experience in Cancer Research Malaysia because there are quite many collaborations with the institutions in the UK. So yeah, that's probably uh, the few reasons why eventually I chose UK for the my master's degree. Yeah.
Okay, so did you have any memorable experiences that you had during your time in Scotland?
Definitely. So I think the few memorable experience I would say is definitely how international it feels there
Mhm.
because my time there obviously I spend most of my time in the uni and also in the lab and um the the uni experience is that I get to know and work alongside a very um diverse
Diverse, yeah,
yeah very
diverse.
diverse
So you
like
meet a lot of people from different countries, right?
yeah yeah
Yeah, same, same.
it felt like a mini melting pot like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, there are so
It's
many
nice.
different, yeah, there are so many. Obviously, it feels like everyone wants to get to learn from the best. Like, um, yeah, many different countries, basically, it's very international. I get to know people from like the Europeans, peoples from like Thailand, from Japan, and you really
Mm,
get to learn. I
learn
I
their
really feel like
practice.
my geography get to improve by just meeting the different people from different parts of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely one of the biggest appeals of studying overseas because I also experienced the same thing. Yeah, you meet lots of different people with like different mindsets, different attitudes, and of course different cultures. But I think that's quite a fun experience actually. Yeah, so you just
yes,
have to keep an open mind and accept, wow, this world is truly, truly diverse. It's completely different from Malaysians. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad to hear that you really enjoyed yourself in Scotland. I'm sure you've done a lot of lab work. So, if you don't mind, so what exactly did you major in your master's degree? Like, what's the subject?
So my master's degree is kind of similar to my undergraduate
Biomed.
degree. It's called the exact name is biomedical and molecular science.
Ah, sounds very, very sciencey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm glad that I'm glad that you did enjoy master's degree. It's usually only like 1 year, right? And 1 year very
In the
intensive course.
UK, in the UK, it's quite in the UK it's 1 year, but I think
Yeah,
the
it's 1 year.
rest of the world is a more standard year would be 2 years for the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah. So if it's full time in the UK, it's going to be 1 year, but if
1 year.
it's part time, then it's 2 years. So that's what I know. Yeah. So I figured that yeah, because it's a master's, you are specializing in something, and you only have about a year to like study and get tested for it. It was a bit of a stressful experience. It can be stressful.
Yes.
It's fun, but also stressful. But at the same time, eventually when you graduate and you get that master's degree, you feel a very huge sense of accomplishment. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Exactly.
Great. All right. So, you were in Malaysia, then you flew all the way to Scotland, stayed there for a year, studied there for a year, and so now you're back here in Malaysia, yeah? So, why did you decide to return to Malaysia and specifically our organization after completing your master's degree?
To be honest, it wasn't a very easy decision to make, but I think eventually what made me eventually why I came to this decision is basically I think I asked myself one question, which is if today I were only given one chance like to just do one research. Do I want to do it back home or do I want to do it elsewhere? And
I
I
see.
think that answer came quite naturally is that I think I would want to do it back home because personally I'm the type of person who want my work to be a little bit more meaningful or purposeful. So I think that's the key reason why eventually I chose to come back to Malaysia in the first place. And second, as I've previously worked in Cancer Research Malaysia, and I do think that what Cancer Research Malaysia do quite aligns with what I wanted to do. So that then naturally just matches. And also, I think a lot of the time is also speaking about opportunity and timing. And just right at the time when I make the decision, the opportunity also comes. So yeah, everything just perfectly aligns, and that brought me back. Yeah.
That's great. I thought you were gonna say something like, "Oh, I want to come back to Malaysia because I miss the food here."
That's also one of the reason.
Yeah, you see, so
Yeah.
it's not incorrect. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, I really did start to miss our nasi lemak when I was there. Like, British food is amazing, Scottish food is amazing, but I don't think I can eat beans on toast and all these masala cuisine for a very long time. There's only like a certain point that I can tolerate in which I can go about Malaysian food. Yeah. And also
Yeah.
because you were in Dundee, right?
Yes.
And I was in Aberdeen, so it's not the capital cities of Scotland. That would be
Yeah.
Edinburgh, and also
Yeah.
another big one called Glasgow. I'm sure
Glasgow.
we've both been there. The thing is that it's not so diverse in terms of like, there's other like minor
There are
ethnic
not many
foods.
choices. Yeah.
Yes, I know. It's either Indian or Chinese, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I love Chinese food and I love Indian food, but I need the Malaysian food, the asam laksa, the nasi
Yeah.
lemak, and
Yeah.
all of that. I was just like, oh, so it was such a great feeling. I can imagine how happy you were to like finally board that plane and then, head back to Malaysia. And the first thing you do is that, oh my God, I need something to eat.
Yeah.
You absolutely
That's
need something to eat.
yeah, yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah, and I figured, besides the joke, I figured that you would also miss your family and your friends that you have left behind temporarily to further your studies in Scotland. So I assume that would be part of your reason why you wanted to come back to Malaysia, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Of
Yes.
course, yes, yes. Great. Okay. So thanks for telling. quite a number about, the beginning of your journey, and then you talked a bit about your experience in Scotland and your master's degree. So now let's talk about something a bit more serious that I hope you, as a scientist, would be able to answer. So can you give us an example of how Malaysians are underrepresented in cancer research?
So for this question, so first of all, we have to understand that cancer is a genetic disease. So a lot of the time, what we research into is the gene behind the gene that drives certain cancer. So the quite classic examples in cancer research as to how Malaysians are underrepresented is that we don't have enough genomic or genetic data in the current database. The current databases are largely quite skewed toward the Western populations, which the research output based on the database might not be applicable or so suitable for us Asian population. So that's really very one key underrepresentation here. Yeah, because let alone Asians, I think Malaysians are even more unique. Like
Mm-hmm.
our populations are even more unique where we are made up of like Chinese, Malay, Indians, and other indigenous. Um, yeah, so that's really one of the key underrepresentation. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's why. So that's why it's very important for Malaysians to focus on Malaysians, right? Because we know best, and if we want to get the genomic data, the DNA samples and all of that, or maybe even cancers that are more commonly found among us Malaysians. So if we do research on that, then I guess you guys would be able to find a sort of a solution or something that
yes,
can actually help current existing cancer patients or the ones in the future.
yeah, definitely,
Okay,
yeah.
great. That's amazing. Yeah, unfortunately, not many people are aware of this underrepresentation. And I've heard some scientists and even my boss saying things like how even cancer markers are not that accurate. Am I saying it
Yeah.
right? You're the expert, so you go ahead and say it in case I say something wrong and mislead our audience.
Yeah. So as I said, a lot of the I think especially the previous findings, as I said, because of the databases are largely driven by the Western populations. So what was developed in the past basically were also based on the Western populations. So cancer markers are one of the current cancer markers are also were also developed or found from research based on the Western populations. So the cancer markers might not be as applicable to us Asians. Yeah. So yeah, if we could build our own or we could contribute more genetic or genomic data to the databases, and that would help us to develop a more precise treatment that's more kind of customized to us Asian population, and that
Oh,
could include
okay.
like cancer markers is one of the screening markers, right? So
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of the times we said like prevention is better than cure. So
Mhm.
yeah, so in yeah, we really I mean, the ideal case is really that we could have a database that's as huge as the Western populations that would facilitate us to develop a more precise treatment in the future.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So thinking about it, so now that we're talking about cancer markers, just like a few weeks ago, I had the health screening test at SJMC. Should I be concerned? Because I did actually take the tumor marker or cancer marker in this case. And okay, so in my part, there is absolutely nothing wrong with me. But since I've already went ahead and done the test which the hospital has provided, should I be concerned about any inaccuracies in the tumor marker?
So cancer markers sometimes can be a little bit of false that I mean every test has the not all not basically not no one test is like 100%
I
accurate.
see.
Yeah, so for example, for cancer marker, there might be cases of false positive, especially when maybe you do not notice, but you may not notice it, but your body might have some chronic inflammation or acute inflammation going on that might search the marker reading as well. Yeah,
I
there are
see.
cases like this. So yeah, so basically there's no one test is 100%. So
Oh, I
for
see.
example, for cancer markers, what I've mentioned, they might be false positive, um, for example, during the inflammation period,
Oh, I
or
see.
for example, if for female, if we are on our period, that might
Uh-huh.
also, yeah, the basically the test result might not be 100% accurate as well.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think it sort of makes sense. It's not to say that the screening tests and the medical tests that we are taking in hospitals are inaccurate, because there is no way that a test is 100% foolproof, like it's perfect. Because I'm sure there are like some very, very minor, very tiny flaws, and maybe there are even some things which can even escape, the eyes of technology. So even if you do something like a CAT scan or an
Yes.
MRI scan, the machine is bound to like maybe miss something, but of course the chances of that is very, very small, because we don't intend to like scare anyone here because we really don't want to do that. But I think, yeah, I think what you said really makes sense here. Oh, definitely. So we're not trying to say that cancer markers are totally inaccurate. I mean, they do work. It's just that hopefully in the future, as you've said, maybe we can get more information from Malaysians so that we can create something exclusive for Malaysians that works really, really well for us. But I think there would be some challenges to that, because we are multi-ethnic, we are a very diverse country, so there's like other factors to play into as compared to, say for example, a Caucasian majority country. Yeah. Okay, great. So thank you, Jane. Okay, next. So you are a young scientist yourself, and I want to know why is it important for young Malaysian scientists like you to be supported in their cancer journeys, as in career-wise?
So I think for researching, I think first of all, I think research is a very important, is an important part for evolution and medical advancements. So but research is not um, not a straight line, and that's why I think foundational support is quite important to keep us motivated. And just to me, it's just if you look at the bigger picture. So imagine if there's one scientist from Malaysia
Okay.
working here right at home, um, made maybe breakthroughs or world-changing discovery, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this will bring kind of like the spotlight, the global spotlight. It will shift the spotlight to maybe in Malaysia, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this will kind of create like a very positive cycles, because this kind of visibility naturally attracts um, more funding and better resources, and eventually, these are the keys to um, fuel the research. So, with better funding and resources, eventually we can have more discoveries to be done. And this, to me, this really creates a very beautiful cycle, because ultimately these cycles it can nurture the next generation, and the research is done here, and the ultimate benefit will be back to the our own patients. Yeah, so that's how I think it's really important to support local scientists, I guess.
Yeah, I totally get your point because if, say, for example, just like one Malaysian scientist makes a breakthrough, I think there would be more opportunities for collaborations. Maybe scientists from overseas would want to work with us and said that, oh, Malaysia has really a lot of potential, so let's just go ahead and support them. And you also did mention about funding. So I think that is like a cornerstone of every research because without funding in the first place, you won't be able to conduct research because that's how expensive and also time-consuming research is. But unfortunately, not many people are aware of it. So yeah, I think that's a very great answer, a very lovely answer from you, Jane. Thank you for that. And so I want to know, since that you are well, basically an employee here at Cancer Research Malaysia. I want to know how has the organization provided you with an environment to support and grow your career? So you can start talking a bit about colleagues and the environment here. So yeah, go away. Yeah.
So I think personally, I think the mentorship here is great. The
Yeah.
seniors and the team leaders, they are very encouraging, and they are always ready to guide. And yeah, for example, and I love how we are kind of quite connected to probably the international science. Like for example, probably like our chief scientific officer, she will attend some major international conference, and then she will come back and have internal sharing sessions with the rest of the teams and tell us about the latest trends. And
Mhm.
also, they are on and off. They invite some speakers to the organizations, and that's how I think Cancer Research provided us with the environment of like continuous learning, and have the opportunity to interact with people outside of the organization and learn from the experts of the field. Yeah. So the
Mhm.
environment here is really very encouraging for continuous development.
Okay, great. Yeah, really nice to hear that because I'm aware that you scientists usually have a team meetings and all of that. So it's very interesting to know that some of the scientists who have maybe gone overseas and attended conferences and talks. So it also allows them the chance to network with other scientists and so it's all about the sharing of knowledge. And then, whoever has it, then they bring it back to the office here at Cancer Research Malaysia, and then they let you know so that maybe you could learn something new, maybe something that you haven't encountered yet. And then you could definitely make use of the information. Yeah, that's a very good way to grow because I think scientists, especially scientists, they need to be constantly learning. So it's not just staying in a lab and growing cancer tissue cells and whatnot. So it's not just about that. It's also continuous learning because science is always developing because one day would be this and then the next day it would be this. So that's how science is actually as a field. So very nice. Interesting answer from you, Jane. Thank you for sharing on that. And I'd like to know what is your advice to students, say for example, university students, college students who may be attending today's webinar. What's your advice to students who are hoping to follow the same path as you? So they want to work on cancer as well, and they want to contribute to cancer research.
So first of all, I think you probably have to have the interest and, yeah, the motivation
Yeah.
to um, on cancer research, obviously. And I think we probably have to kind of set the expectation right. So I mean, when you saw people's success in publishing papers and all, that sounds very satisfactory. That sounds very rewarding. But during the most of the time, you your days might be filled with like experiments failing, data doesn't make sense. And so I think to me it's like you have to be prepared to constantly learn and unlearn, um, and have the sense of curiosity, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yeah, you have to really keep an open mind and
Yes, of course.
explore as much as you can, especially during your very early stage, during your unis. Um, just try to maybe, if you get the chance, maybe try to do, if there's, let's say, student exchange program, or during your semester break, do
Hmm.
internships, in I mean, different perspective, different projects, different types of cancers, or yeah, to basically gather diverse perspectives. And I think that's how, I mean, from different experience, you could probably then find motivations and your true interests. And I think, yeah, I think that's important to really find your interest or motivation. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So hopefully, that is a piece of good advice which students can think about, and hopefully it would actually help them a little bit with their future decisions. So speaking about the future, my last question for you is something a bit more personal. So this is based on your personal perspective. So what do you hope to see in the near future for cancer research? So what do you as a scientist want to see?
So I think we have spoke about how underrepresented Malaysians are in the cancer research. So I think one of my hope in the future is definitely that Malaysians or maybe Asians could be more representative, and because that will result in a more precise treatment that's more customized for Asians. That's definitely, I think, the one uh, hope that I do see in the future. So I think to reach this goal, I think the first step is that we need to have our um, local database to be built. I think that's what I would hope that we could kind of achieve. And I think once that's established, I think we can envision like a better um, discoveries, and it will expedite the discovery for a more customized treatment for our local populations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. I think that's a great insight into the future. So hopefully we would be able to achieve that. But the thing is that I think it's going to take some time, right? It's definitely going to take time to actually build a
Yeah.
large database for us
So
Malaysians.
yeah. So I mean, AI is now very common. So I
Hmm.
think one of the hope is also we could employ or like embrace AI in terms of research progress as well. Hopefully, AI could also help us to speed up the research progress. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, because AI is practically everywhere right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure you use ChatGPT. I don't. I'm not as proficient as my colleagues. So yeah, I think the future is still pretty much unknown. But then who's to say that we can't keep a positive outlook about what would happen? So new discoveries are still being made in the scientific field. We're seeing things on the news. Unfortunately, not for Malaysian scientists yet, but other scientists like maybe in Mexico. And then there's I think there's the news about how the Spanish scientist, he sort of like found a cure for pancreatic cancer, something like that. I think you've heard about it because that's what I read in the news. So, yeah. So, but the thing is that, yeah, definitely, I do 100% agree with you that we do need a larger database so that we could have more information and more details about Malaysians. So yeah, hopefully that future that you wish to will come true. I really do hope as well. It's all for the best. And this is how our organization is also helping to fight against cancer. So, in a way that we want to help cancer patients and those who are affected by this disease. And I think that's pretty much all of the questions that I have for you, Jane. And you've done a very brilliant job in answering all of them. I think I've learned a thing or two from you as well. And so now we will give the audience a chance to ask you questions or maybe me questions if they're interested. So for those of you who are online right now, feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. Actually, hold on. Oh, there are actually three questions. I think
Okay.
you would be able to answer them. Okay, so this is the Q&A box. There are three of them. Okay, so the first one is, Hi, I am a Taylorian too. I wanted to ask what were some activities you would recommend to students to do if they also want to pursue biomedical and health research in the future, if it's all right. Thank you. So yeah, you go ahead. Jane.
Activities that I would recommend to
Yeah.
pursue. Uh, I think I think critical thinking is quite a good, quite a key skills to have. So I think that I believe there are quite many online platform that have some free exercises and all that you could visit. And to me, is maybe another thing is probably reading, because besides doing lab work in cell culture or whatever doing in the lab, besides that, reading a lot of reading is required. So probably pick up reading as a hobby.
Wow. That's going to be,
Yeah,
oh my
to me it's
goodness.
about reading. And
Mhm.
when you are reading, because yeah, besides doing lab work, we need to read a lot of articles to know what's
Oh
out
yeah.
there, what have people found,
The journal articles, right?
and yeah, and what you have found, what you are researching. Is there any connection with what people have found, or or is your findings the novel findings that no one has found?
Mhm.
Yeah, and yeah, you have to be able to connect the dots. Yeah, so I think reading is first, and you also have to be able to kind of apply critical thinking and see how valid are people findings and how's your findings. Yeah, I think I would recommend probably start from picking up this habit of reading. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hopefully that answers your question to the anonymous attendee. So, oh gosh, we actually have quite a number. Still, some interesting questions actually. I think most of them are from students. So another one is for you as well, Jane. So, when you were in the UK, did you attend many co-curriculars to help develop and nurture your interest in cancer research? And would you recommend students to go for extracurriculars as well if they're interested in similar pathways? So are we talking about like sports or something like that, Healthy brain, healthy mind, something like that, I think.
Uh, Personally, myself, when I was in the UK, I did not actually have much time because the masters in the UK is just a 1 year program, so it's rather fast paced. So I didn't really attend any core curriculars, because to develop my interest in cancer research. So I think I already had the interest before I decide to pursue the master's degree in the UK. So yeah, uh, to me, I already begin with the interest in cancer. So I didn't really intentionally probably to try and find my interest, try and for the interest in cancer research. But I do think that definitely gaining more experiences, you will know what you don't like. At least you will get to, so you get to figure out what you don't like. If you don't already know what you like in the first place, maybe you at least get to explore and figure out what you don't like at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm allowed to also throw my 2 cents in, I think for extracurricular activities, they're also just as important as your studies because during my master's, I did join the archery club. I know it's nothing to do with cancer or whatnot because I don't specialize in cancer in the first place. But the thing is that if you're able to pick up any sports or dance or cooking clubs, exciting, other exciting clubs and societies, which the university will definitely provide for you, I think it's also a good chance for you to go out there and express yourself and put your energy into something else instead of just like, cramming yourself into the studies because it's going to just like make you feel very, very dull, like all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So you know that idiom. So hopefully, I think, yeah, those are just my 2 cents on what I want to chip in for the question. So hopefully that answered your question to another anonymous attendee. And now we have another one who is a first year biomedical science student. So good morning. Could you briefly explain the difference between an intern, trainee, and a volunteer at Cancer Research Malaysia? Interesting.
I hope my understanding is right, but I think that the best person to ask is probably the HR, our
Yeah,
HR.
it's
But
definitely HR.
from my understanding, the clear difference, the distinct difference between intern, trainee, and volunteer is that volunteer is definitely unpaid, as the name suggests, it's volunteer. But intern and trainee, you will definitely get some compensation there. And intern and trainee, in terms of the compensation, there are difference as well for intern and trainee. So if personally my own experience, as I've never joined as a volunteer. I've only joined, I'm starting as a trainee, and then after that, transition to a graduate intern. So, trainee, as you have not graduated, the compensation is lower than the graduate intern rate. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, and they also have the question also, what are the requirements to be eligible for the e-certificate? Okay, so for any one of you who are interested in knowing more about the e-certificate, I will be the one to provide you with details. So hold on a bit longer until we finish the Q&A session, and then I'll get back to you on that. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question for the third anonymous attendee. And now we have one from Shaila. So, how do you think those in the psychology line could contribute in cancer research, perhaps more in terms of getting Malaysian population more known? Okay, so I think this one would be something that I can answer a bit more appropriately because I am a psychology graduate. I studied psychology here in Sunway University in Malaysia before, well, proceeding with my master's degree in health psychology in the UK. So I studied in the University of Aberdeen. And right now, my current job scope is a science communicator. And essentially, my job scope is basically translating very, very scientific terms and scientific jargon into something a bit more digestible for the public. And so I think that is one way in which those in, the psychology field could also contribute to cancer research. So even though we are not scientists, we can't go in the lab. I can't go in the lab and help Jie Ying and say that, oh, Jie, I think we should do this and that because I don't have the qualifications for it. But you can definitely help by being someone who speaks to other people. We science communicators, we go out there and speak to the public. We speak to corporates who are willing to engage in one of our health talks, and by distributing knowledge and providing awareness to the public. And even right now, the webinar that we conduct every month is actually an effort from the science communication team to spread awareness about cancer research. So hopefully that answers your question, Shaila, in terms of the psychology-based question. All right. Okay, so these are the four questions that we had in the Q&A. And so I saw three more messages in the chat box. So it seems that we have one from Jian Cheng Chan. As you know, high impact translational oncology relies heavily on capital intensive infrastructure to produce clinical impactful results. So, as a researcher at Cancer Research Malaysia, so that's you, Jane, could you comment on the funding situation and accessibility to frontier technologies at Cancer Research Malaysia to remain globally competitive, as Cancer Research Malaysia is representing Malaysia? Oh, that's something you should be familiar with. It's definitely not my capacity to answer this question.
To be honest, I could, in terms of the funding situation, I guess, I think the latest situation, if you are in the space, you will know that a lot of funding situation, not just in Malaysia, but I think globally, the funding situation is not so favorable now. And
Mm,
yeah, but I think, I guess we Malaysians, we funding situation is not, I mean, the unfavorable funding situation is not something that new to us if we were to compare our situation with the Western countries. So
mm.
I think we Malaysians were very good at, working around with what we have. So yeah, I think that's uh, that's not like a new situation, I would say. And accessibility to frontier technologies. Uh, Obviously, if you were to compare to the Western countries, we definitely don't have that powerful funding to be accessible to the, uh,
Maybe
the
the
latest
rural
the
countries and all
latest
that.
technologies. But
Mhm.
how we could achieve that is we are we do international collaborations. So through the
Mhm.
collaborations, we are able to send our samples to our collaborators, and it's through this method that we could still achieve what we achieve in Cancer Research Malaysia.
Okay. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Jen. The next one is from Putri. So a very straightforward one. Do you think that AI can replace genetic counselors? I personally think no.
I would Short answer, I would say no, because human interactions is still different from
AI
interactions with
interactions.
AI. Yeah, just your normal days when you chat with AI and chat with the face-to-face interactions. I do think there's still some difference there. Yeah, and AI is not 100% accurate as well. You will always see that disclaimer under the AI there.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. There is like quite a few scientific studies that have been done on like ChatGPT and AI on how sort of unhealthy they are in terms of interacting with the user. So I think that's something interesting that you can definitely search on your own. But yeah, I think both Jay and I agree that definitely no, AI is not going to replace genetic counselors because as humans, we really do need to socialize and interact with one another. So if we were to speak to a robot or AI, it would completely devoid us of any emotion or any connection that we can feel from exclusively one person to another. So while AI is able to maybe give some advice and maybe provide you with some information, it's just losing that human touch. So I think you
Yes.
agree with me, right, Jane? So I
Yeah.
think we can all agree on this common perspective towards AI. So AI is not to say bad, it's not completely bad. It has its ups and downs, but as hopefully our genetic counselors can remain human. Maybe they can use
Just
AI to help
yeah.
them, but not completely replace them per se.
Yes, yes. Just a little bit of add-on. So, genetic counselors is not really just, handling just about the patients. Genetic counseling is also about managing the whole family because cancer is a genetic disease, right? So the especially the when the gene runs in the family, it's not just about the patients, it's about the whole family. So genetic counselors play a very important role in terms of coordinating. Every family has different dynamics. So
Mhm.
genetic counselors, one of the very important roles of genetic counselors is really in managing the whole family as well. So
Great.
I think this is one of the part that AI really couldn't really replace genetic counselors in calling all your family together. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, spoken like a true professional because she was in the genetic counseling team before she actually transferred to the lab. So Jay is definitely a person who is great in answering this. All right. And then the last question that we have for today is from Tipa Darshini. Since the cancer markers are not so accurate with the Malaysian population, what are research steps on overcoming this? So what is research doing?
Um, Actually, there are some efforts that's already in place here. That is an output from Cancer Research Malaysia. So, for example, I think one of the cancers that we focus a lot of is breast cancer, and we do uh, have developed a risk calculator in house, which is called ARICA, that's calculating you know, that's helping doctors to determine to make decision as to whether or not a breast cancer patient uh, whether or not they should go forward for a genetic test for the BRCA gene, which is the gene, the culprit behind the breast cancer. So these are some efforts that we have already, it's already in place that actually is trying to overcome these limitations that for example, like the markers from the that was developed back then based on the Western population's database. So this is one of the example that I could think of currently that it's an output from Cancer Research Malaysia that's trying to fill this gap.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks for bringing up about Erica. It's not something that it usually shows up in the local news or whatsoever, but it is one of the main things that Cancer Research Malaysia has implemented. I think it's implemented in hospitals, right? If my memory serves me right. So
Yeah, I
it's
think this Erica tools is
certain hospitals, I think it's like
certain hospitals.
UMMC, if I'm not mistaken, maybe some private hospitals as well, like
Hospitals.
Sunway Medical Center. Yeah, because the whole purpose of Erica, as you've said, and so as a science communicator, I'm supposed to know a bit about Erica as well. So it's meant for Malaysian breast cancer patients. And because there are some parts of cancer which are inherited, because there are some cancers which are inherited, that means it came from your family tree. And there are some cancers which we call sporadic cancers, which you get as you get older, or it can be your environment and your lifestyle. So we want to target those who are affected with inherited cancers. So it's quite easy. Just take a look at your family tree, and if you notice that there is a pattern of your family or your relatives, your great grandfather, your grandfather who has a history of cancer, then there is a chance that you could be, you could carry the faulty gene, the bad DNA, which actually would become cancer in the future. So if we manage to identify, say maybe a faulty BRCA1 gene or BRCA2 gene in breast cancer patients, then we can immediately help them instead of just playing the waiting game and see whether or not the cancer would happen. So again, as Jie Ying has actually previously said during the webinar, prevention is the better cure, because if you can prevent cancer altogether, I think that would be a better solution than just waiting for the cancer to strike. And then there's a whole lot of things that's going to go downhill in terms of finance and emotions and etc. So hopefully that answers your question. And wow, actually, we did receive quite a number of interesting questions, particularly for you, Jane. So I'm sure that they were able to, scratch your brain a bit. And thank you all for your questions, because I think that's all the time we have left for today. But before we actually conclude this webinar, so now we move on to the e-certificate. So I have not forgotten about that. This is a standard procedure that we have for all webinars, and usually you have to stick around to the end in order to know more details about the e-certificate. So right now, let me share a slide with all of you. So I'm sure you can see as well, right, Jane? So over here, these are the details for our webinar e-certificate. So the process is quite simple. You can see it, right, Jane? I just got to make sure that
Yes.
everybody can see it, including you. Okay, perfect. So it's all there written in bold. So after today's webinar, please check your email inbox, because you will receive a feedback form from us. So it's under Zoom. So all you have to do is just click the link and you fill out the form. And at the bottom section, there would be a part in which they ask you, do you want to get an e-certificate or not? And if you say yes, then you will have to donate a minimum 1 ringgit. And you have to take a screenshot of the transaction and you have to upload it there. So it's quite a simple process. And once it's done, then the e-certificate will be sent to you within 30 days. And if you have any questions about the e-certificate, or if you have not received it within 30 days, then please reach out to us via the email provided down here. So it's de-comms@cancerresearch.my. And the QR code that you can see at your right is a link to our donation webpage in our website, so that it's easier for you to look at where it's easier for you to find where you can actually donate it, instead of just like Google searching and trying to look through Cancer Research Malaysia's website trying to find it. So over here, if you want to use like Do It Now or QR, Touch and Go, we also have more details over here. There's also, you can just take a picture of this and refer back to it later if you're interested. And don't worry if you if you didn't manage to like take any pictures, or if you've forgotten or whatsoever. I mean, all you have to do is just find a way to donate minimum just 1 ringgit, and then I think it's all done. Yep, so the process is very, very simple. And of course, that's all the information for the e-certificate. I hope that was clear. And so before that, just one last thing before we finish this webinar. So bear with me for just like a few more minutes. So at Cancer Research Malaysia, you know that our scientists are always busy at work. They're always in the lab. I don't know what Jane does specifically in the lab, but I assume that she is very busy. But it was very kind of her to allocate 1 hour just to talk about this, to talk in this webinar. So besides doing all the sciencey things, Cancer Research Malaysia also comes up with fundraising events, and in there you can choose to be a volunteer. You can help us out in events, and you can also participate in our events. So, an upcoming one is something called Race Against Cancer. So, if you are an avid follower of Cancer Research Malaysia, you'll know that Race Against Cancer is something that is organized by our own organization. So, all of this is to raise awareness about cancer research and also to raise funds for cancer research. And so we go from one city to another. Previously, it was in Kepong, which is in KL, and then now we are going to Penang. So Penang will be at the Penang Youth Park. So if any of you reside in Penang, or if you're planning to have a trip to Penang with your family or friends, then we really do hope that you can actually participate in Race Against Cancer on the 28th of June. So it's going to be about like a few months left. And if you want to know more details about this run, just check us out on social media. You know, we're active on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. You'll find details there on how to sign up for the race. And if you want to participate, you get interesting things right over here. So on the left, you can see that there's the event tee, and then you can also ornamental. So they look very beautiful, right? What do you think, Jay? You think it's nice? Yeah,
Yeah,
she loves it. Yes, absolutely. So it's like a beautiful combination of yellow and brown. And if you guys are wondering why we put monkeys and bananas in the design, you want to try to guess, Jane, like why monkeys and bananas? Actually, there is a very good reason why. So the venue is actually in the Penang Youth Park. So as I've seen, yeah, over here, the venue is the Penang Youth Park, and one of the main attractions of the park is actually the monkeys there. So if you run along the park, you'll be able to see the monkeys there. So it's good good to know that, right? You're gonna see cute monkeys just like probably observing you, and they're just gonna be like, what are these humans doing right over here? So hopefully, you all would be interested in participating in Race Against Penang, Race Against Cancer in Penang. And if you can't participate in this one, don't worry, because we still have more Race Against Cancers coming in your way. So we'll have one in Malacca also very, very soon. And also somewhere in Selangor, if I'm not mistaken, in Elmina. But we have yet to announce it. But again, if you're interested, in helping scientists like Jie Ying and spreading cancer awareness, do participate. We'd love to see you there. All right, so I think that's pretty much it on my side. Hopefully, I haven't taken too much time, Jie Ying. I know that it's already past 12 o'clock, but I think that's all the time we have for today. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, I will stop sharing right now. And right. So thanks so much, Jane, for allocating some of your time for this webinar. I think you've been a great guest speaker today. Yeah, thank you for answering those questions. You've been very brilliant. And for our audience, again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the conversation between Jie and I. And if we hope to really see you again in the next webinar. All right then. So until then, thank you so much and goodbye. Have a good
thank
afternoon.
you. Thank you
Right,
for having
goodbye.
me. Bye.